Let me tell you about Zinfandel, the grape that I think is probably California's most important grape. It's been here certainly longer than any other grape in California. It came to California in 1851 and rapidly became California's most planted grape. By 1888, there were 34,000 acres of Zinfandel planted in California, making it the most planted grape in California, bar none. Yeah, the most important grape. I chose to make Zinfandel because I grew up drinking European wines. Now that seems a little bit odd, but when you look at European vineyards, they do have something in common. You know, it's a particular grape grown in a particular place that's suited for that grape. The vineyards are dry farmed. By legislation, the crop levels are kept at about 2.5 to 3 tons an acre. They are planted in a place where they get lots of light and lots of exposure, and they actually hedge the vines so you get more light into the vines. Well, the only grape in California that even came close was Zinfandel. It was planted a long time ago, so it's, you know, that all the vines that were planted in the bad places got taken out. So if you have a 100-year-old vine, it's there for a reason, and that's because it produces good wine. They're dry farmed because there was no irrigation when they planted them back in those days. They have a canopy that is sparser, so you get more light into the interior of the vine. And the grapevines, because they're old, naturally keep the crop levels low at about that 2.5 to 3 tons an acre. And the berries are smaller and the clusters are smaller, so you get more intense, more flavorful wine. So really wonderful grapes. You know, and it was a grape that kind of made its way in California. As I mentioned, it got here in 1851, but its odyssey to get here was interesting and long. We know the grape came from Croatia. It's a grape called Zrljenac Kastelanski in Croatia. We've done the genetic work on that. The one lineage we can find clearly and how it came to California, and there were several introductions apparently, was the grape made its way from Croatia to Austria, where it was kept in the Schönbrunn collection, and a man named George Gibbs traded, you know, rocks, really interestingly enough, for grapevines because he wanted to try growing grapevines in America. This is 1824, so this is a long time ago. And he brought these grapes to the hotbed of wine growing in the United States, Queens, Long Island, New York. Not, you know, and he actually grew these grapes in hothouses because if he could get a grape ripe by April, which he could trick the grapes into doing with a hothouse, he could get $1 a cluster. So that was about the equivalent of $60 a pound today. So it was worthwhile doing. So I think the other part that's interesting, which I found much after I named Ravenswood, was that the first location in Queens, Long Island, which is where the Con Edison power plant now is in Queens. What's the name of that particular location? Ravenswood. So the place that, you know, Zinfandel first arrived in the New World, and, you know, one of the most important Zinfandel producers in California have the same name, strictly by accident. So Macondri passed his grapes on to a guy named George Prince. He took them to Boston. From Boston, they were picked up by a guy named Frederick Macondri, who was an interesting man because he not only ran sailing ships to California during the gold rush, but he was a horticulturist, and he belonged to horticultural societies on both coasts. And he actually brought the grape out here. So it shows up at a Mechanics Institute tasting in 1851, which means that it probably came out around 1849, 1850, because it'd take a little while to get the grapevines planted and growing and get grapes up. So, you know, it came very early and became very dominant in California. Now, when I think about Zinfandel, you know, I think about red Zinfandel. Now, that's really not an oxymoron. The oxymoron is really white Zinfandel, because there is no such thing as white Zinfandel. You know, it really is a rosé of Zinfandel. It is usually pink, it is usually sweet, but that is not the standard bearer for Zinfandel. The standard bearer for Zinfandel is an intense red wine that tastes of the sunshine of California. Zinfandel, when it arrived in California, found exactly the right place. It had gone through a number of places that weren't perfect. You know, it had gone through Croatia, where it was too humid and it rotted easily. Ultimately, it had to be hybridized with another grape and came up with a grape called Plavat's Mali, which is related but more resistant to those particular climate conditions. Obviously, didn't do too well in Austria. It didn't do too well in New York, but when it hit California, it was perfect. And it actually makes these exquisite red wines. It tends to be blended with a little Petit Syrah, a little Carignan, a little bit of Alicante Bochet. Those things make the wine more interesting, really more in the idea of a blended wine like like Chianti or Châteauneuf-du-Pape, or maybe even Bordeaux. But Zinfandel in California is a very special grape, makes really terrific wines. We have a Zinfandel event every year that has 9,000 people that come to it. We taste 900 wines. Terrific. It's great fun. You should come and experience it, and you can experience it at home. Just drink a bottle of Zinfandel.